is give a brief, a verbal overview of some of the highlights of the opening of school. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention last night when we had our 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony up at the Memorial Stadium at the high school. An amazing event. I think you probably all know that Debbie Berga spends a great deal of time organizing that event. Brenda Lynch comes and takes all kinds of pictures, communicates with the press, so they're aware of what we do. And if you didn't see Channel 12 last night, there was a tremendous story on Channel 12 about the Remember ceremony. And the Buildings and Grounds crew does a tremendous amount of work to prepare the facility for that event, and it was just outstanding. It's the 12th in a row. I think we're the only district on Long Island that's been doing it for 12 consecutive years. And it means a lot to people, not just the people that attend, but in speaking to people who weren't able to attend for one reason or another, whether they had other activities or events that they needed to attend. They like the idea that we still take the time to remember. So I certainly want to highlight everybody that was involved in putting that event together. I was humbled and proud to be there. So thank you, all of you who took part in that. As we open school, which occurred on Monday, first day with students, it's our habit to be very nervous, particularly that all the kids are going to get to school, that we're going to be able to feed them, and that we're going to get them all home. Believe it or not, that is something that we consider on that first day, those items in particular. So what we do here in district office is we divvy up all the district office administrators and we say, okay, everybody go out to those schools just in case they need us. Now, they never do. I mean, they have it well in hand. But we travel from building to building. I was able to get to 6 on the first day of school. Other administrators, and we do that at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day so that we're there, just checking on whatever it is that they might need help with. And then at the end of the day, we ask each administrator to submit a report regarding the opening of school. And it includes information about transportation, food service, buildings and grounds, security, staffing, book supplies and materials, and more. Anything that they feel they need to report on. So what we're going to do now is have a couple of assistant superintendents speak to you about some things that were reported back to us and how things went. In my estimation, it was as smooth and calm an opening as I've ever seen. And I don't say that every year. There are years when we have some difficulties when we open, whether it's here or other districts I've worked. This was as smooth and calm an opening as I've ever seen. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Pecora, who will report anything regarding curriculum instruction and assessment. Dr. Pecora?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about the opening of school. This year, I start every year by saying the opening of school, and I said this at the PTA Council on Monday night, the opening school is a very magical day. And I don't know whether it's just because I was a nerd as a kid that it was a magical day, but I remember when I was a kid, and I remember when I first became a teacher, and it's just a very, very special day. So as you were touring the buildings, you saw that positive energy. You saw kids walking arm in arm. You saw parents taking pictures all over the place. And it was just a very, very special experience. And in looking at the schools were absolutely meticulous. They were beautiful, they were pristine. We thank the custodians for the great work that you had done. And when you walked into the schools, there were magical touches all over the place that were, of course, done by the teachers, the administrators, the secretaries. The attendance this week has been absolutely stellar. Every day it's been 99% plus. So people are in school and are learning. And this year in particular, and we've said this a couple of times this week, there was a very, very positive energy when we were walking in the schools, on the part of the teachers, on the part of the administrators, on the part of the students, the parents. And the administrators give a report at the end of the first day. And I'd like to quote Kathy Nolan, because I thought what she wrote was really telling, and it was basically everything I observed and how I felt that day. She said, today was an extremely smooth and productive day by all accounts. There was a palpable and high level of positive energy on the part of staff and students. And I just think she encapsulated exactly what that day was and what it's continued to be every day this week. Yesterday afternoon, we did something that I had mentioned we were going to do. We did code night a little bit differently this year. And we had all of the athletes together yesterday at 2:30. And Kevin Sheehan, who presented to the parents and the students last week, came and he spoke to the children. And Kevin is a lacrosse guru, but most importantly, he's an educator. He's a retired educator, and he's a professor at Malloy who's doing his doctorate in a realm that's very interesting. It's positive psychology. So most of the time you say you go to a psychologist for, well, what's wrong with you? And this actually studies, and most of the research comes out of the University of Pennsylvania, this studies what's right about you. What makes people happy? What makes people successful? And it was very interesting to watch him with the kids, because when he spoke about some of the things that bring you down on the athletic field and some of the things that pump you up, you know, the kids were just really relating. And I think anybody that can hold an audience of every single, you know, winter athletic team, that's an impressive feat. So one of the things he said, and I'll share this with you, and those of you who don't have a child playing a sport in winter can go home and share this with your children, is he said the two most successful traits, or the two characteristics that will lead to success is the passion for a goal, and he really stressed the passion for that goal, the wanting of that goal, and then the perseverance. And in prior times, I was talking to Kevin, he's called it the Rudy factor. So those of you who've seen the movie Rudy understand what that is. And I mention that because it's very, very strongly related to how we handle the academic side. We do believe in a growth mindset in Commack. And we do believe in giving children the opportunity to believe in themselves, to believe in what they're capable of doing, and help them get there. So this summer, we did a tremendous amount of work, and I thank all the teachers. Really, they did stellar work with their summer curriculum projects, which I mentioned the last time I presented. And at the high school, we developed 2 new courses. We developed a Python computer science class, which when we speak to colleges, they were saying that we really need this basic programming class for kids that want to specialize in computer science. And that's very nicely enrolled right now, and got a great kickoff to the school year, and we're really excited about that. And then we added the standard level chemistry class for students who are not going to go to MIT, that may not become doctors, that may not become engineers, but really do want to continue in a higher level science. Curriculum writing was done for that. What I'm extremely proud of also is our middle school teachers and our elementary teachers did an incredible job, really incredible job, of taking the politicized Common Core and making it our own, making it Commack's. So the state released these modules that tell you what to do, how to teach, in a very helpful way, but it wasn't necessarily how we did things. So they took the materials that we have, they took the practices that we use on a regular basis, and they made it our own. And it was kind of serendipitous because 2 teachers that were working on the math side, and at the elementary level, and Kathy, you could probably attest to it, not everybody really loves to teach math, some do, some don't, but it was really a very ambitious task to redo some of these modules. And one of the teachers that was responsible for working on the 5th grade modules sent me an email today, and she said, I used the lesson from Envisions, which is our math series, to teach single-digit multiplication, but then I used the strategies from the modules, and the kids flipped out. There was so much enthusiasm, I loved it. And that's great. That's the first week of school. So the curriculum that we did over the summer is already in place. The kids are excited, the teachers are excited, and everything that I said was there on the first day of school, it just keeps perpetuating itself. And, you know, I gave some thought as to why I think that is, and I think it's because here at Commack, we take a look at what's best for kids. We do have a growth mindset, and I have to thank the board for continuously, and Dr. James, for continuously supporting the work that we want to do. And it's almost as if through this whole process of things being in newspapers and through this politicalization, the reality is we know who we are. And you know, one of the things that kind of hit my mind is last year my daughter was applying to colleges, and one of the colleges she was looking at was Penn State. And Penn State is like massive. So, you know, you go to one section, you have to really take a car to go through Penn State. You get taken one section and we're walking, and out of nowhere, these kids like pop out. They're like, who are we? We are Penn State. Well, this is like kind of strange, like a bunch of strangers do this. It was really strange. We went a little further up, and you know, kids are getting on the bus. Who are we? We are Penn State. And I said, you know what? We're not walking around chanting, we are Commack. But when you walk through the halls, and you see the enthusiasm, and you see what we do on a day in and day out basis, we know that we are Commack. So that's my report for today, and I'm so proud to be here. Thank you.
And quite frankly, everybody knows who Commack is. They absolutely want to model what we do. We have visitors constantly to look at our instructional and educational programs. It is a stellar instructional program. And we'll talk more about that as the months progress. But for now, regarding the opening of school, we'll turn to Mrs. Newman, who is going to report on buildings and grounds, food service, and security, among other things. Mrs. Newman.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm very happy to be able to present the opening of schools from the facilities perspective. And I think first I'd have to thank Mr. Schramm and Mr. DiMarzo, who are here tonight. At any given time, day or night, you can find them anywhere in any building. Their sense of leadership and where they've moved the district and taken the district is evident on a daily basis, but I'd say no more so than when we're opening up for the school year after a very busy previous school year and certainly a very busy summer. Our team of custodians and maintenance men, I see many of them are here tonight, which is wonderful. They've been very busy ensuring that all of the district's facilities were in excellent shape and ready for when those children got off of the school buses and started their 13-14 academic year. So we thank them for doing everything that they do each and every year here in Commack. We were able to have a Board of Education walkthrough where members of the board came to examine and showcase all of the things that were happening in the school district for the year. We did that over the course of 2 days, covering the north side and the south side. Some of the items, and Mr. Schramm and Mr. DiMarzo and our maintenance and custodial staff will, I hope, forgive me that I will not name the litany of items that went on above and beyond the regular cleaning and maintenance that happens, but a tremendous amount of work was being done as well. But I would like to, just for people that are here in the audience, and certainly to remind the board, just some of the wonderful things that were done at the buildings that we were able to showcase. At the high school, the renovation of the Science Research Lab, and we saw what a wonderful program that is by some of the students that we met this evening. That had been expanded. Ms. Salentano had made that request of Mr. Schramm, and we were very fortunate that we were able to do that and expand in that regard. All of the windows in the D wing were replaced as well. That came under our energy performance contract. At the middle school, as with all of our other buildings, every kitchen was power washed. The parking lot at the middle school was swept, patched, and relined. We also had a transformer replacement at the middle school. Again, that was through the energy performance contract. At both Sawmill and Burr, we replaced the chiller, and also a transformer replacement was done there. In the primary buildings, again, all of the kitchens were power washed. All of the buildings received the installation of the building management system. The boiler was replaced at Indian Hollow and Wood Park. We excavated a new playground area at Northridge. Here in Hubs, we rewired the boardroom for new projector installations. There was also the installation of a building management system here at Hubs, again through the energy performance contract. At our rental buildings, sometimes we forget that there are other buildings other than the school buildings. There was regular maintenance done that is done similarly in all of our school buildings, and they also had some work done through the energy performance contract. Some items to note that, as we like to say, Mr. Murphy is alive and well. We had some of that here in the district just before the beginning of school. We lost all power to Sawmill Intermediate School the day before Superintendent's Conference Day. It also happened on the day that Ms. Tancredi was expecting all of her students for an open house. Fortunately for us, we can say it was a LIPA issue. LIPA did come and fix it for us, and we were ready again to go with the opening of school. We also had our phone line go down, which was the phone line that managed all of our security alarm systems. That, again, through the work of the facilities department, Verizon was contacted, and Verizon did come in and repair. And last but not least, the air conditioning in the middle school went on the fritz. the day before Superintendent's Conference Day, and again, our facilities department facilitated the repair of that, and we were ready for Superintendent's Conference Day. Moving on to the opening day of school, as Dr. James said, the first thing we worry about is getting the children to school safely, feeding them, and getting them home safely, and I'm happy to report that in all cases, that was a success. Regarding transportation, if I could just start with some exciting facts that you may not be aware of. We have 67 big buses operating this school year. We have 64 vans. We do 130 routes each day, twice a day. We bus 6,587 students to our schools within the district, 206 students to the private and parochial schools, 566 special education students, and we also bus to 55 school locations in addition to our 8 school facilities. The furthest school that we bus to is in Levittown, New York, and it is 50 miles away, and that is in conjunction with New York State education law. I would like to say Mrs. Nunziata has truly done an outstanding job of making the start of school a successful beginning. Opening day, as Dr. James said, we had administrators at every building to observe arrivals as well as dismissals. Things overall went extremely smoothly. We did have the normal expected delays that do occur due to student and parent interaction at bus stops, conversations and reassurances by our bus drivers with parents, and then also the never-ending traffic patterns that we think we know what will happen and doesn't always happen that way. We are here in the first week of school already receiving reports from some of the buildings that every bus is reporting on time in the morning and pulling out on time in the afternoon as well. We do continue and will monitor any runs that habitually seem to be running late, and will make any adjustments where necessary. We certainly appreciate the patience of the community, as well as all of the parents that are waiting for their children at bus stops. And really, as we settle into the routine, again, we thank everyone for that. I happened to be at Indian Hollow at dismissal, and Mr. Simpson and I were standing next to a little kindergarten girl who was waiting to get on the scope bus. And Mr. Simpson asked her, "Did you have a good first day?" To which she replied, "I did. I'm coming back tomorrow." And it was just precious, because apparently there was an option. So again, it went very well. School lunch, every child that participated in the school lunch program received lunch. School lunch is off and running. We have Whitson's culinary group back again, so there's a continuity there. And everything again is going very smoothly with that as well. My last update would be with regards to security. The board certainly is aware that there was a serious incident that had occurred at night in one of our facilities. At that time, we did immediately deploy additional security measures and supports. Obviously, in a public forum, we won't detail what those are. But since those measures have been implemented, we've seen little or no activity. The board did authorize a security assessment review, which is ongoing. Phase 1, to look at the after-school hours, is complete. The Board of Education did have a presentation in exec session tonight. There have been some recommendations which have been implemented, and there are others that are being discussed for future implementation as well. Phase 2 of the assessment review concerns the security during the school day. As school has just opened, that has just begun, and we expect over the upcoming weeks that we will be getting additional information on that. Once that information has been culled, completed, and recommendations made, we would expect that we'll be seeing a public presentation as well. I thank you very much. That concludes my opening report.
Thank you, Ms. Noon. The last thing I'd like to report on to the board is, you may recall, next week I will be testifying before the Senate Standing Committee on Education regarding the region's reform agenda, assessing our progress. And it's an apt title because, as we know, there's been a significant increase and significant changes to the assessment protocols for students. My testimony will focus on the over-reliance of on state tests, changes to the test before the curriculum was fully rolled out, and the loss of local control and determining what we do with classroom work. Dr. Pecora spoke briefly about the fact that we are fighting that particular component tooth and nail. We will not give up the local control so easily. Our modules that are part of the Common Core, and we are a district that recognizes the value of the Common Core, but we also recognize the value of our own self-determined work. Our record speaks for itself. Every child that wants to go to college goes to college. Our data related to graduation, SAT scores, college attendance, far surpasses almost every district in the state. So to think that we will just abandon the work that we currently do because they put out a cookie cutter program is flawed, and we won't do that. I plan to speak to that next week. A lot of conversations, as you know, with the Commissioner of Education, Senators Marcelino and Flanagan. All the senators are very supportive. Met with the Lieutenant Governor, and we're going to continue that advocacy work. Once the testimony has been given, I will certainly make it available for public consumption here in the district so that you know the position. I don't think it's a secret what my position is on the over-reliance on standardized tests. And so that concludes the administrative report. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Walsh. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. James. Okay, I will now open the microphone. If anyone has any questions on agenda items only, we'll take non-agenda items later. Please come to the mic, state your name, whether or not you're a district resident, and please be aware that you've got 3 minutes.
Give me 30 seconds. Teresa Burke, and a resident. I don't even have to use it. Just wanted to know if we're going to be able to, is there going to be a separate meeting regarding the security? Or are we going to get briefed on what they're looking to implement, what their changes are going to be, what their recommendations are?
Sure. Several things are going to happen. Some of the changes that are recommended are for executive session for several reasons, not the least of which is the company doing the assessment is telling us you don't want to share all of your changes publicly. You don't want those that might use your systems to be aware of all of your changes.
I can understand.
What we will do is once the entire assessment is completed, is we will do a public presentation here. So we'll bring in the outside, the head of the outside company. He will, in conjunction with Mr. Newman and Mr. Schwan, do a presentation. I can tell you that his initial review has indicated that we have quite a robust system. Technology for video surveillance is really up to speed. We've got a good, strong staff. How we now manage that and moving forward is everybody can make changes and improve. So, and some of that comes with the changing dynamics within the community. So as things change, we need to grow with that. So we're off to a really good start with that. We made some initial changes, in particular with regard to trouble spots. And one of the things that we certainly are looking at something called a ComStat model, which is where the issues are, and sense data.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening.
We can hear you.
There we go. All right, well, the first thing is you're going to approve the minutes from the last meeting, I assume. And on the back page, you guys have the status of the portable trailers at the middle school. And it's actually the high school. I don't think we have portable trailers at the middle school. That's just a fix there. Several months ago, somebody in the audience stood up and requested that you guys put the dollar amounts of the bids.
See, where's that in the minutes?
Where is it?
That's not, we're not approving those minutes tonight. We're not approving those minutes tonight. Those are the tentative minutes that are posted someplace. We're only approving August 8th minutes tonight.
So you're not approving the one from the last meeting? Okay, very good. Several months ago, somebody stood up and asked about publishing the prices for the bids that you guys were going to approve at these meetings, and I guess we're not implementing that. So, it's still a good idea to do it. I would say that rather than me stand up here and start saying to you, what is the price that you guys are gonna accept for the folding wall and stage rigging, inspection and repairs? And then you answer me with whatever dollar figure it is, and then you go down the line. I think it would save time if you publish the pricing that you're gonna approve, so we all know what kind of dollars we're talking about.
We'll take that under consideration.
Okay, very good. One of the other issues that you guys are gonna approve tonight is the, I guess you're gonna approve plans and specifications for, additional cameras at all the schools. Is that part of Excel grants that we discussed? One of the last questions I have regarding issues on tonight's agenda is, it looks like you guys are going to be approving learning centers for the pre-K programs.
Yeah, yes.
Can you explain the process of how that works? It says that you're going to approve people who responded to your RFPs, and I guess we don't get to see the RFP. So my question is, who sets the guidelines for the programs? Like, what time do they start? What time do they end? Are they half day, full day? Who sets the parameters?
By and large, the parameters are determined by the state. It's a state-funded pre-kindergarten program. We send out requests for proposals. I want to say this was a renewal year. Is that accurate?
I believe it is a renewal.
It's a renewal year, which means that the request for proposals went out in prior years. It wasn't a new response this year, which is certainly permissible under law, where you can just renew over the first years. The rate is set by the state under state aid. I want to say it's $2,700 per student. We don't have any say whatsoever in that rate, and that's the rate that's paid to each of those agencies.
But how about the start times, the finish times, half day,
It's up
full
to the
day?
school.
Excuse me?
That's up to each individual school.
Because, I guess because I'm vocal in the community, I get emails, and I get the complaints. So
You
what's
also
the
have 3 minutes,
complaints?
and you've more than used up the 3 minutes there. So
Okay.
let's make it quick.
So it's not 3 anymore, it's not 5 anymore?
It's 3. It was always 3. We gave 5 last month.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So that was the question, because some of the complaints I got was that you start the pre-K programs at the same time that.
We don't
school
start,
starts.
they start.
Well, you're accepting them. I mean, if we're gonna pay for the pre-K, shouldn't you determine the start times and such?
Well, a couple things. One is, you don't actually pay for the pre-K, the state does. In essence, we're more like a flow-through. What you could do, which would be helpful, is if you forward those questions or concerns to Dr. McCord or myself, we'll see what we can do.
Well, is that something that you guys, like, look
What we can
into?
do is certainly can talk to the pre-K and share the concerns.
All right, very good.
Anyone else? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the August 8th, 2013 Board of Ed meeting? Motion made by Mrs. Masiello, seconded by Mr. Hartman. Discussion, all in favor? Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve all of the personnel items attached? Motion made by Mrs. Goober, I'll second it. Discussion, all in favor? Passed unanimously. I will just note that there is correspondence attached, and they are in the back, and both have been addressed administratively. No old business, I'll move on to bids. Can I get a motion to approve the following bid as recommended? Folding wall and stage rigging inspection and repairs. Motion made by Mrs. Masiello, seconded by Mr. Hartman. Discussion, all in favor? Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items of the bids that are on there? Motion made by Mrs. Goober, seconded by Mrs. Masiello. For discussion, I have a question, Mrs. Newman. The third-party administrator for tax shelter annuity is Eastern Suffolk BOCES. And I know I should know this, but doesn't Western also do this?
No, at present, it's
They
always
only-
been through Eastern, I don't believe Western.
No, they only do the 125 plan. Okay.
I can double check.
No, that may be right. I know we do the 125.
Presently, we're still using the Eastern Suffolk.
Yeah,
BOCES.
okay. You know what I'm asking. All in favor? Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the following Department of Public Works contract? Floor tiles and materials, motion made by Mr. Hartman, seconded by Mrs. Masiello. Discussion, all in favor? Passed unanimously. Under new business, can I get a motion to approve receipt of the following invoice from Saraceno Construction Corp., payment number 2 in the amount of $62,548 for masonry and new bleachers at Commack Middle School. I'll make the motion, seconded by Mrs. Goober. Discussion?
I do have a question. Is this for, Richie, we just had, those were like those wood bank bleachers, so we're replacing that in its entirety, everything is being.
The new bleachers in the main gym.
Yeah, you were not at that part of the tour. They are spectacular. Yeah, I know you missed that one school. Yeah, they were really nice.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the application for examination and approval of final plans and spec scope of proposed project and state smart growth public infrastructure impact statement for the following projects as listed? Motion made by Mr. Hartman, seconded by Mrs. Masiello. Discussion, all in favor? Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the following agreements and authorize the president of the board to sign the same 1 through 13? I am not going to read them. I'll make the motion, seconded by Mrs. Goober. Discussion, all in favor? Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the obsolescence of the 2 following vehicles? A 1994 Ford F-150 pickup and a 1996 Ford Crown Vic with 147,659 miles on it. Motion, I love that. Motion made by Mrs. Goober. I'll second. Discussion.
There's no question, what happens to the cars? Are they just donated to somebody, or what's the process?
No, the normal process, once we have board approval to dispose of them, a bid is sent out, and it's the opposite of how much are we going to pay for things. Usually it's how much will someone bid, and there's a bid opening.
Bid opening, okay.
And again, the highest bidder would win.
Okay, thank you.
So if you want that truck.
No, I want the Crown. No, I want the Crown. I have my John Crown Vic. I have it. The administration, can I get a motion to accept the following donations? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, motion, all in favor? Aye. Sorry. Can I get a motion to accept the following donations? Donation by Commack Educational Foundation of $1,000 to fund the administration of the Grand Friends Club at Commack High School. Donation by Mr. Todd Krasner of a drum set to be used by the music department. Donation by Richard and Jeannie Owen of a pitching machine, L-screen, batting cage, net, softballs, and baseballs to be used by the Commack High School baseball and softball program. Motion made by Mrs. Masiello, seconded by Mr. Hartman. On behalf of CEF, I will thank, so far we have gotten 2 donations towards it, and totaling $750, and promises towards the other $250, and CEF will guarantee the last $250. Thank you letters will go out shortly to those 2 organizations and whoever else contributes the remaining $250. And I thank everyone else on here for their support of the school district, as people continually do. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the following field trip? Commack High School 2013 Shore Coaches XC Invitational in home. Thank you. Cross country. Cross country, I thought it was going to be 90 in Roman numerals. Cross country invitational.
I don't know.
The accountant in Homedale Park, Homedale, New Jersey on October 5th. Motion made by Mr. Hartman, seconded by Mrs. Masiello. All in favor? Passed unanimously. Legal, if Jean could make the comment on this one.
Upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the attached agreement with the Jewish Academy is hereby approved, and the president of the board is hereby authorized to execute same, subject to the following. A, the tires that are property of the Jewish Academy are removed from district property no later than 12 noon on Friday, September 13, 2013. B, receipt of proof by the district's council that arrangements have been made for payment of the monthly payments, as that term is defined in the agreement, by direct deposit from the Jewish Academy's bank account to the district's bank account.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hartman. Discussion. I just want to thank Mr. Bronowski's law firm for all of the hard work, especially Michelle Feldman, who spent a heck of a lot of hours banging out this agreement at the end. All in favor?
Thank you.
Passed unanimously. Board business, we will acknowledge receipt of the internal claims auditor's report and acknowledge receipt of the CSE, CPSE recommendations on all the dates listed. The Board of Education is requested to adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Commack Union Free School District shall hold its regular business meeting on Thursday, October 24th, 2013 at Commack High School. Time to be announced at a later date, and it will be posted at least 72 hours prior to the meeting date. Motion made by Mrs. Goober, seconded by Mr. Hartman. Discussion? All in favor? Passed unanimously. And now, if anyone would like to come to the mic on non-agenda items.
Debbie Berger, community member. First off, I'd like to thank you for your kind words from yesterday's evening. It was a very special event for this community. I'd like to thank the high school students, the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. Without them, this event could not be made possible. So to pull this together was done through the volunteers and most of them are children, so thank you to your children. I've noticed that our maintenance guys are here. I wish they had stayed, because without them, this would not be possible. Their expertise, their creativity. I do things on the fly, and sometimes I have to apologize to them because I'm making them do things on the fly. Go, oh, hooks would look good here, and poor Roger was running back to the place to make hooks for me. So electric, you don't realize, but the lights, the electricians, the maintenance, the putting it all together, the legwork, the heavy work involved. Those towers weigh a ton. Putting it all together, I can't thank it. Really is such a team effort, and that's what I love about this community. So thank you, thank them, and thank the community.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie.
Anyone else?
No time limit, right? All right, I really didn't understand the answer that you gave for the pre-K. If we're approving the schools, how come we don't have say in what time they start?
What we could do is review the RFP that was sent out a couple of years ago, make some determinations if that's a concern of the parents, like start times. Then as we accept proposals for those pre-Ks, that would be where we would have some say. I personally haven't heard those issues. That doesn't mean they don't exist. So if you forward them, we certainly will look at it and see what we can do.
I've been on the board for 5 years, and I'm not going to speak for Mrs. Masiello, but she's been here for 15. We've never heard any of the parents complaining about it.
So you don't think there's a problem if pre-K starts at 9 and school starts at 9?
No, we're not saying that, we're just saying that as
Oh,
much
yeah,
as
these
they came
complaints.
to you, they did not to us.
Well, I don't know why I'm the
know.
conduit, but I'm just asking.
I mean,
Have them come,
It would
have them
help
come
if
to
they
us.
asked someone that might get an answer,
Yeah, I wish
not
people would
that
come.
you wouldn't
I wish
try.
people would come to the meeting. Let's not to pack the room, and maybe they'll stand up and they'll ask the questions.
But to be perfectly frank, we get dozens of questions via email when we respond to them. So they could absolutely email, call. They don't have to come to a meeting, whatever works for them.
I will pass that along.
And not that we won't look into this as a result of your comments. Make no mistake.
One of the items we discussed last meeting was the trailers at the high school. And Mr. Wunsch wanted to make a clarification about the payment. And I think what you were leading at was that the school district didn't pay for the removal of the trailers. I guess that's the clarification.
You made the statement that we paid for the removal, and I said, no, we have not paid for the removal. We would not pay for the removal until and if they're removed.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You want to clarify that the school district didn't pay for it. What I want to clarify is that the taxpayers
No,
paid
it's the
for
same
it.
thing. No, now you're picking words. It's the same thing.
No, I mean,
There has not been a payment made to anyone,
that's true.
by
And
anyone,
I
for the
agree-
removal
and I
of
agree
those
with you.
trailers.
But as taxpayers, we paid for the removal of those
No, you
trailers
did not.
in the bond. in the bond, when you said we need money,
You're saying it's included in the bond, and therefore should not be something
But we may be
paid for
using, we may be using that money for something else.
well, that's not what you should be doing. And I think Mr. James pledged that he wasn't gonna spend the money to remove, for that.
I'll clarify. We do have the funds. If we determine that those trailers should be removed, then we can do that. If not, the law says we could allocate those funds to something else that was approved in the bond,
Correct.
or we must return those funds to the taxpayer. Nothing else. We couldn't use it for salaries, we couldn't use it to do something that wasn't approved in the bond. It
Correct.
had to have either been approved in the bond, or goes back to the taxpayer.
Yeah. Well, my only fear is that they're gonna spend all the money, and we're not gonna have the money to remove those trailers when the time comes, and then you're gonna ask us for more money, which is,
Well, we couldn't do that. I mean, we'd have to put out another bond.
yeah, exactly. You're gonna put out another
Well,
bond to ask us for money to remove something that we paid for already.
Okay, time is up, the 3 minutes are up, sorry.
I thought you said after there's no time.
No, I didn't say that. I said there's 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna send you the videotape where the last time this happened, you said there's only a time limit for before the meeting, and then after the meeting.
Mr.
there's
Fusco,
no
Mr.
time limit.
Fusco, one of the reasons there's a time limit is certain people in this community continue to get up to the mic and badger the board. There is a time limit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
Does anyone else have any questions
I
for the
would
board?
gladly yield my time to anybody who wants to get up. I
Does
mean,
anyone else have any questions? Come on up.
Paul Schwartz, I'm a resident. Curiosity about the two vehicles, those beautiful vehicles you get around. Where do those get advertised for bids?
The district does name, I believe there are 3 to 5 district newspapers that are announced, depending on what the cost is. But typically, something of that, I will say, I believe the purchasing agent places it in a community paper.
So like these little the supermarket type of newspapers?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious. The ELA tests that we took last year, were we ever going to see those results as individuals, the individual student results?
Yes, the district has not received the mailings yet from BOCES, they get processed. Parents will receive mailing.
When do we expect
I
that?
think we are expecting late September.
Late September, we just had gotten another update that they were delayed again. So what happens is, the individual student reports that they receive at home are actually printed at BOCES, then sent to us, and we mail them out as soon as we get them.
We hear that other districts and city students have gotten their results a while ago.
Well,
Some
it
months.
may be that they process their own scores on
Well,
those.
you can print your own scores internally. We don't print our own scores
So
internally.
at the end of the month-
We do it through BOCES because it's more cost
So children who
effective.
might need extra help that would have started at the beginning of the school year won't get to start that extra help until,
No,
No.
they're actually working on that now. The state, this is a bigger question, certainly from a parent's perspective, it's a very legitimate question. The state took a lot of time. In fact, I don't think we received notice until the end of August as to which students would qualify for extra help as a result of their state test scores. That was received. As soon as that was received, the schools started working on the students that would receive that extra help. So it's called academic intervention services. Parents have been notified. In most cases, not all cases, depending on where they are, it's day 3 of the school year. That process has already begun. So as soon as that's ready,
so the scores are out, just that we don't have them yet.
that is correct.
Okay. And we think within a couple of weeks.
BOCES is telling us that we'll have them by the end of the month.
And I would just like you to speak to class size. I have a 4th grader with 26 in his class, and a 1st grader with 25. I don't know, both those numbers seem high, especially the 1st grader. Can you speak to that for
Which schools?
Wood Park and Sawmill?
Speak to it in what regard?
Those numbers, class size.
I don't,
I think they're high. What do you think?
okay. Would I prefer them lower? Sure.
What's the point at which you open another section?
Well, there's 2 things with that. There's contractual language, which we lowered and called it a do not exceed number, in which we published when we did our budget last year, and when we had the do not exceed number published, anytime we went over that number by even 1 student in 1 class, we opened another section.
Okay, among the primary schools, among the first grade schools, grades, class sizes, where's 25 stand? Is that maxed out? Is that the highest in the district? Or is that, do we have 19 at one school and 21 and 22 and then we're 25 at Wood Park?
I don't have those numbers in front of me. What I can tell you is from my recollection is that they're fairly well balanced district-wide. Dr. McCord, if you have a better recollection.
They are fairly well balanced, but I can get you the do not exceed number for first grade.
Can you get the numbers for all the schools?
Sure.
Okay. And the same thing would go for the fourth grade district as well?
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. Fletcher, the budget presentation is still online from last year?
Yep.
Those numbers that we published.
I remember.
Fell short.
I thought 25 was over the limit for first grade.
Dr. McCord is going to look at that. If that's true, we haven't been notified of that, but if that were true, if it was over the limit, then we'll address it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have any more time?
I'm sorry?
Do I have any more time? Can I give it to Mr. Fusco?
Thank you, appreciate that.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Go Marchese, 54 years in Commack.
What's your last name?
Glasses. I talked to Dr. James last time. And it's great every meeting we come to, and we bring the best kids out here. They're wonderful. There was 2 of them that were here tonight. My concern is every time I come to this meeting, I want to know where the kid that's doing 75 average to 90 average, why is not that student not here ever? They're never here. We're always doing for the kids that are doing great, great, great. There are kids that are in Wilson Tech. There are kids in other parts of this district that are doing great work. They're doing the best that they can. We don't ever have those at the meetings.
I'll comment about the kids at Wilson Tech. I'm on the Western Suffolk BOCES board, and we honor those students all the time.
We should do it at the school board meeting.
Well,
We discussed it last time.
we are going to do that. We absolutely value the programs those students participate in.
I agree.
We just spoke last meeting.
Okay.
We will do something.
Just my concern, I know you
Sure.
listened to what we had next
Absolutely.
conversation.
And sometimes, I don't want to, there are students that we recognize that, although they may have done something extraordinary for recognition, actually might have a 75 average. We don't, it's not necessarily about grade point average. We want to, and you and I talked about this.
Right. You said maybe we would try to get somebody?
We are going to do that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Can I get a motion to adjourn into exec session to for the purpose of discussing Renzi versus Commack Unified Union Free School District?
And to receive advice from your
And to
attorney.
receive advice from our attorney. Motion made by Mr. Hartman, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor? Yes, unanimous.